y'all still broke. The go is back.
Cheers, we at the Apple store right now, and Lil Tay ain't afraid to flex in public.
It's my 18th birthday on July 29th, and every mail has been counting down to it and literally telling me to drop the link the second I turn 18. Girlies, what do you think? Should I do it?
Going on, Lil Tay's dropping the youngest link of the century. Mark your calendars tomorrow, 3 p.m. EST.
The moment Lil Tay turned 18, something happened that shocked even her most dedicated followers. Within hours of her birthday, she launched an OnlyFans account that reportedly earned her over $1 million in just the first few days. But what most people don't realize is how calculated this whole situation really was. Everyone's talking about the money she's making, but nobody's asking the right questions about how this account appeared so quickly, so professionally produced, and with such perfect timing. The story behind Lil Tay's latest controversy goes much deeper than just another child star gone wild. It reveals a disturbing pattern that's been hiding in plain sight for years. What I discovered when looking into this situation left me genuinely concerned, not just for Tay herself, but for what it means for the entire influencer industry. And trust me, it's much worse than what you've heard so far. The timing couldn't have been more precise. Literally, as the clock struck midnight on her 18th birthday, her OnlyFans page went live with professionally shot content, custom graphics, and a full marketing campaign across all her social platforms. This wasn't some impulsive decision. This was months in the planning. Industry insiders I spoke with pointed out something most people missed. The level of preparation required for this launch would have taken weeks of production time. The photos, videos, and promotional materials showed signs of professional lighting, editing, and marketing strategy that couldn't possibly have been thrown together overnight. What's particularly concerning is that her social media started showing subtle hints of this transition months before her birthday. If you look at her Instagram from 3 months prior, you'll notice a gradual shift in aesthetics, more adult-themed captions, and what appears to be a calculated grooming of her audience for what was coming. The platform itself typically requires several days for verification and account setup, yet hers was operational instantly, suggesting special treatment or pre-arrangement with the platform. This kind of immediate verification raises serious questions about when exactly the account was established and when the content was actually created. But the launch strategy becomes even more troubling when you look at who's been making decisions behind the scenes all along. Her family dynamics reveal a pattern that makes the situation far more complex than just another young star choosing to join OnlyFans. If you're as shocked by these shocking celeb dynamics as I am, hit subscribe button to follow these stories unfold. It would mean the world to me. Now let's talk about what's actually happening with Lil Tay. While Lil Tay publicly claims this OnlyFans move was her independent decision, the behind-the-scenes reality tells a different story. Her brother recently posted cryptic messages expressing concern about her current situation and how some people never change. He quickly deleted these posts, but not before they were screenshotted and shared across multiple platforms. This isn't the first time her family's influence has raised red flags. Remember those custody battles that dominated headlines a few years back? Court documents revealed disturbing allegations about how her early career was managed. Those same family members who were fighting for control then are suspiciously present in her business dealings now. Former team members have privately shared that Tay rarely had final say in her career moves, even as she approached adulthood. One former assistant described witnessing heated arguments where Tay's objections were consistently overruled by family members who controlled her finances and contracts. What's most concerning is the pattern of exploitation that's followed her since she first went viral. The same adults who put her in front of cameras, flashing cash at 9 years old, are now positioned to profit from her transition to adult content. Her management company, which lists family members as executives, reportedly takes a significant percentage of her earnings, higher than industry standard according to entertainment lawyers familiar with similar arrangements. And while Tay claims empowerment, those closest to her situation describe something closer to resignation after years of having her image and decisions controlled by others. What's actually being posted on Lil Tay's OnlyFans differs significantly from how she's marketing it. While she publicly compares herself to empowered female creators who maintain creative control, subscribers have noted her content appears formulaic and follows specific trends that maximize earnings rather than expressing personal choice. The aesthetic and style of her posts bear striking similarities to other high-earning accounts managed by specific production companies known for guiding new creators' content strategies. These similarities suggest professional management rather than authentic self-expression, a continuation of the manufactured persona she's had since childhood. Psychological experts who've analyzed her public statements and content patterns have expressed concern about dissociative behaviors typical of individuals who've had their identity commercialized from a young age. A specialist in child performers development noted, "When someone has been a character their entire formative years, the transition to adult content often reflects continued performance rather than genuine exploration." What's particularly troubling is how her content deliberately references her controversial past. Certain posts explicitly play on the bad baby persona she was forced to adopt as a child, creating an uncomfortable continuity between her childhood character and adult content. This deliberate blurring of lines between her minor and adult personas raises serious ethical questions that other platforms are beginning to discuss internally. Even among other former child stars who've made similar transitions, industry observers have noted Lil Tay's case stands out for how aggressively it capitalizes on her pre-adult fame. Unlike others who attempted to establish separate adult identities, her marketing strategy explicitly targets followers who've been watching her since she was 9 years old. The reality behind the glossy posts reveals a troubling continuation of the exploitation that's defined her entire career, just in a new, more profitable form. The $1 million earnings claim deserves closer scrutiny than it's received. Financial analysts who've studied OnlyFans payment structures point out that such figures aren't possible through subscription revenue alone in such a short time frame. This suggests prearranged deals or promotional payments were likely secured before launch. Platform data shows the typical revenue curve for new creators follows a gradual ascent, not the vertical spike Tay reported. According to industry experts, such immediate profitability typically indicates involvement of experienced management teams who specialize in maximizing early returns through strategic pricing tiers and promotional cross-platform marketing. What's particularly notable is the corporate structure behind her earnings. Documents filed in March reveal the creation of 3 separate LLCs with carefully designed revenue distribution formulas. This sophisticated financial architecture, established months before her birthday, ensures that substantial percentages flow to entities not publicly associated with her brand. The payment processing agreements visible on her subscription page contain unusual terms that differ from standard creator contracts. These custom arrangements, typically reserved for major established accounts, suggest high-level negotiations occurred well in advance of her public announcement. This elaborate financial structure raises questions about long-term rights to content and residual payments that could impact her autonomy for years to come. The audience reaction to Tay's OnlyFans debut reveals concerning patterns that other commentators haven't addressed. Data analysis of her follower demographics shows a significant percentage followed her throughout her childhood career, creating an uncomfortable transition of audience from one context to another. Several major content creators have privately expressed concerns while publicly remaining silent. Messages shared with me from verified accounts show established OnlyFans personalities discussing the implications of her case in private Discord servers, with many worried about the precedent it sets for the platform's reputation and regulatory scrutiny. Platform moderators have begun implementing new verification protocols in response to her situation. Internal communications from content safety teams reveal ongoing discussions about strengthening age verification, specifically for creators with pre-existing public personas established during childhood. What's most telling is the reaction from brand partners associated with other aspects of her career. Several companies that previously collaborated with her have quietly removed her from their websites and campaign materials without public statements, suggesting behind-the-scenes concerns about association with her current trajectory. The divided public response hasn't fallen along expected lines. Rather than simple moral outrage versus support, the conversation reveals deeper concerns about systemic issues in how young influencers transition to adulthood while carrying the baggage of commodified childhoods. The timing of Lil Tay's content release opens potential legal questions that could have far-reaching consequences. Digital forensics experts examining metadata from her earliest posts have identified inconsistencies in creation dates that warrant closer examination. While not conclusive, these technical anomalies have caught the attention of platform safety advocates. Social media platforms are quietly updating their policies regarding former child creators, with internal documents showing new guidelines being developed for content featuring individuals with significant followings established during childhood. What makes her situation particularly complex is the international nature of digital content. Legal experts note that content created in one jurisdiction but consumed in another creates enforcement challenges that regulators are still struggling to address effectively. The blurred boundaries between her childhood persona and adult content could potentially redefine how platforms approach age verification and content moderation for an entire category of creators with similar backgrounds. Lil Tay's OnlyFans launch represents more than just another child star controversy. It exposes fundamental flaws in how our digital ecosystem handles the transition of young influencers into adulthood. The calculated nature of her debut, the continued influence of those who profited from her childhood persona, and the sophisticated financial structures in place all point to a system designed to maximize profit rather than protect vulnerable individuals. The questions raised extend far beyond just one creator. As the first generation of child influencers reaches adulthood, Lil Tay's case serves as a warning about what happens when childhood fame becomes the foundation for adult content careers. The infrastructure that made her famous at 9 years old has simply evolved to monetize her in new ways at 18. For viewers and followers, this situation demands more critical thinking about the content we consume and the systems we support. The same audiences who watched her controversial videos as a child are now being marketed her adult content. A transition that should concern us all regardless of our views on adult platforms themselves. As this story continues to develop, what remains clear is that the exploitation that defined Lil Tay's childhood hasn't ended. It's simply taken a new, more profitable form. And until we address the underlying systems that enable it, her story will unfortunately not be the last of its kind.